It says starting recording.
Yep.
All right. Welcome back to the Brew Crew podcast, everyone. This is episode 122. I need to avoid legal problems by telling you that we are recording this. If you're listening on Podbean or any of our audio mediums, you can go to YouTube because we are recording this. Welcome, Matt. We are separated again, but that's okay.
Thanks, JT. And we are listening to you, the Chuggalos. This time we have increased our audio capabilities, our audio recording capabilities. We're both wearing sound capturing devices. So we're hoping, again, that it's a more palatable episode than it was 2 episodes ago when we were separated by a state.
Yeah. Now I'm just going to mess with my sound settings real quick because I'm not coming through the headphones, but that's all right. So,
what I can do while you do that, JT, and hopefully this helps you out, is I was just passed a story and from Juggalo Ryan, and this is really like a kickoff because we're in a new year. I hope to get to some more things about that, but the first one that gets me is more hard seltzer talk. And this is a story that Juggalo Ryan sent, and it's on behalf of Vizzy Hard Seltzer, which I'm familiar with. Their market share right now, they were the 5th best-selling hard seltzer of 2020. Anyways, they are anticipating that the new trend for 2021 will be twofold. One, they're focusing all of their product on putting hard seltzers that are lemonade, so strawberry lemonade, kiwi lemonade. So going away from all the other flavors that are dominated by the 2 big ones, Truly and help me out. What's the other big? There's Truly and the other big seltzer.
Yeah, what did you say? You said White
Truly and White Claw. There we go. Yeah, I forgot. Right. So those are the big ones. And they have so many popular flavors out there. So Vizzy, I assess, is going more into the lemonade to make themselves a lemonade market. Secondly, what they're doing and they're hoping to do is they're big on antioxidants and additives, so health benefits. So with beer, you have low caloric beer. That's all the rage, especially this time of year. And I'm sure we're going to see it in a month when we get to the Super Bowl. But these seltzers are going with, that is very satisfying, by the way. When you drink it, it's very audible.
Oh, I didn't realize how close the microphone was.
So we are, and see, that is very fantastic.
It's great.
But so Vizzy is going back to additives, so antioxidants and other vitamin or medicinal or health benefit things. So I think that, and this is my question to you, is that going to be the trend of the year? And I know we're a beer podcast, we're not a hard seltzer podcast. I think they're commingled for a variety of reasons I could go into. But are we going to get into the place where, IPA X now with vitamin C?
Well, we saw some of that with the electrolytes at D20 when we went to D20 about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think with the pandemic fresh in mind, even if it does start to peter out a little bit with the vaccine coming through, I think health is on everyone's mind. Why not throw in a little vitamin C? Why not throw in some stuff? And I think the trend of flu's down, colds are down, your typical yearly infections are down, and people want to stay healthy, and maybe they can do that. They can drink and stay healthy. I think, is it going to be a trend of 2021? Hard to say. Seltzers certainly aren't going anywhere, and I think they are commingled, like you said. I think seltzers take beer drinkers away from beer.
They do.
Or they allow non-beer drinkers to enjoy, a canned beverage at a barbecue instead of being that guy or that girl who's like, oh, I need a cocktail. And you're like, all right, let me go break out my, $50 whiskey and make you a mixed drink. So I think it's important. It's going to be around for a long time, if not forever. Is health important? Of course. Is it the trend of 2021? That's hard to say. I actually think IPAs are about to come back pretty hard.
We
want to talk trends.
So that's a trend that you're going to be watching is the reemergence or the redomination or the return to domination of IPAs in the market.
Yeah, I think you can even see it in the podcast. Now, I know some people argue that we do too many IPAs.
Right.
But I think that you can even see, if you were to plot our beer types, even we got away from IPAs a lot of the time. And they pop up because they're everywhere. But I think, like Gatorade just told me the other day, she's like, I forgot how much I like IPAs. We've been drinking all these sours, and we've been drinking ales and lagers. And now she had an IPA. She had a Truth the other day and was like, holy shit, I forgot how good this was. So maybe not an emergence of new ones, but I think just the popularity is going to grow just like it did, 5-10 years ago, somewhere in there.
Interesting. So, I mean, because you would argue that, maybe they have been not as dominant in the marketplace, the craft beer marketplace over the last year or 2 years or 18 months, or what would you say about that?
Oh, I don't think they're catching headlines. That's the thing. Maybe they're just as dominant as ever. I think Rheingeist's number one beer is still probably Truth. Yellow Springs is still probably Boat Show. Yeah. But now you have so like one example, Bell's, the one that you
Two-Hearted. Yep.
I was not a big consumer of Bell's, but you started talking about it recently. I don't know if that is something that reappeared in your life and you were like, wow, I forgot how good this was, or if you were always just a drinker and I never noticed. But they also have their low calorie. Dogfish Head has their low calorie IPA, and you see it in their selection. They could do a low calorie anything, but they chose IPA, and they're better. They're not as bitter. They're not as strong. They don't kick you in the face with hops on the low calorie ones. And then your staples like Truth, Boat Show, Two-Hearted. I think they're just, you're seeing them at more barbecues than ever before, or you will once we can have barbecues again.
Yeah, and that's the important thing, and this kind of brings me full circle about this is really a podcast of opinions, and neither JT nor I are an expert on beer, on life, on sports, but when we have an opinion, I'm glad that we have the Chuggalos kind of get in on the discussion a little bit and bring new outlooks and teach us things. That's why I'm very excited when you guys Chuggalos share beer with us, when they send us news stories. Granted, that makes our job easier because then we're not out there, because it's what you're interested in and what you want to hear about. But please, when you share your opinion with us, even if you think ours are right or wrong, you can put that publicly out there on our Facebook. That way it creates a conversation. We do like getting the private messages. It makes it fun. But if we put it out there on social media publicly, then it makes it fun for everyone, and then we can create that. And that's probably one of my resolutions for the year is I want to start, because we go through spurts. JT and I go through spurts where, we'll put something out there and it gets a little bit of traction, but having a more consistent with throwing those out there, if you will.
Engagement, as they call
engagement.
Social media circles. Yeah. Engagement. So, I have a story for another time, but on engagement, but on social media. But so we talked about, you told the news story about this. What is your opinion on the 2021? Where's the beer industry or the craft beverage industry going?
I love that we're partners in this, and I was like, I sure hope he doesn't ask me what's going on, because I don't really have anything chambered.
You can just take the low hanging fruit and say it's going to be health seltzers or health beers, or even this.
I don't think it's
discount liquor 60th anniversary. Throw some vitamin C in this shit, man, and I'll drink it for breakfast.
Isn't that not fantastic?
It's so good. It is so good. Yeah. And short fuse. Wow, that's awesome.
And because we were underwhelmed, because if I remember, we had a gummy bear short fuse, right? Or a gummy something or another that wasn't very good.
Yeah, we did have a gummy bear short fuse, which Chuggalo Nicole went and seeked out or sook out. I don't know what the past tense of seek is. But yeah, we had the gummy bear one, and I don't think we were too into it.
No, that was way back in October of 18. So yeah, the berry white, and I was at a 4, and you were at a 3.75. So still, but it was definitely missing something. That beer is fantastic.
And I'll be honest, I opened it, I smelled it, I drank it, and this is a triple berry milkshake IPA. No fucking way is this an IPA.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
I don't get it at all, but it's, and then it's the elusive Trippa, because you see Dippas and you see quads, but Trippas aren't.
Well, is this a triple berry or a triple hop?
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's a good question.
It's just delicious.
But it's so good.
I don't question that beer at all. I went back. That was a beer that my father-in-law bought me, and Stacy and I went down to that liquor store discount and bought more of it just because I was so awestruck by that. So we bought a bunch of it. But
yeah, thank you for giving me one of those. That's an amazing beer. I didn't leave it at your house on purpose. That was because I didn't want it. I saw what you gave it on Untapped, and I was like, I have to have this beer.
I gave JT a lot of shit for that. So
Discount Liquor, just real quick, Discount Liquor is a Wisconsin thing?
So I think they're all over, but are all over. They're not like a Total Wine or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're 5 or 6 locations, but the important thing is they're close to my in-laws' house, just about 10 minutes away. They sell Truth in 6-packs there for $8.99.
Oh, wow.
When everyone knows that it's a 10 spot anywhere else you go.
Yeah,
but it's
anywhere else. Yeah. Wow.
I'm not trying to sidestep your conversation.
No.
I don't think health beer is on the forefront. I think they're going to go more shocking. Maybe that's a cop out. Like, just try new flavors, and no one's moving beer by just doing German purity laws. They're out there, and purists will find them and drink them, but everyone's going to make a Frito nacho cheese brown ale, like
That's coming.
I think that shock value that we talked about this last fall, and when we were trying to guess like what the next gimmick beer was, I just think that the gimmickry is here to stay. Fighting for shelf space, trying to move product, and the old ways of just making a consistently good beer, of just maybe throwing a different fruit in there, or using different hops or malt or whatever. I think that's here. It's a smaller share than the gimmicked, like Oreo beer, which Chuggalo Dave provided us with, but just so more gimmickry, more outlandish, pushing the envelope.
Oh yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. That's what people want. They want outlandish. Okay, and I welcome it. I like the outlandish beers. I seek them out.
Right.
Like, I like a good standard, but I like something that will surprise me, like the lava cake beer we had. That was a huge surprise.
I'm down to my last lava cake, but yes, there's a place in my fridge and your fridge for both. You have to have your standards.
Yeah.
Because there are certain times that you want to go into your fridge knowing what's going to be there. Mm-hmm. And then, there's going to be like, the things that stand out with can art, or the things that stand out like, Truth now with guava and banana,
right.
Just throw it out there. And you're like, I'll deviate from today's purchase. It's, the interesting thing with craft beer, though, when you do that, it comes at a price point. So it's like your standard, probably $30, $40, whatever. And then, the outlandish stuff, $30, $40. Soon you're walking out $100, throwing down a $100 bill, just to make
just
a dent
a couple beers. Yeah, well, and I think that's on the brewer too. Sometimes you might hit the jackpot. Like, I think the Lucky Charms beer from 2 years ago was all over Instagram, all over Facebook, and everyone was looking for it. But then there's the Fruit Loops beer that Platform released, and I'm still finding dusty cans of it at Shell that people didn't buy because it just never hit. No one talked about it, and it really wasn't anything special. I did buy it and try it. So I'm not going to go back and buy that Fruit Loops beer for whatever it costs, $9.99 for a 4-pack, if it's not even that good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's on the brewer too.
So, short, since we are in a new year, do you have any, and I don't think we called each other out about this, do you have any New Year's resolutions?
New Year's resolutions.
Are you a resoluter? No, don't make
typically don't make New Year's resolutions. I just try to live my life the best possible way each year. If that includes being healthy, so be it. If that includes, I mean, obviously I want to be healthy, so that's part of it. But if that includes decreasing some habit or increasing some habit that I don't do, so be it. But I don't have any specific resolutions. What about you?
I took the last 2 weeks off of the year, and I was spending a lot of time engaged with people over Zoom calls, and imbibing typically more. So I've cut that back. I've tailored it back to like where you and Cobra were talking about, where you were out. I feel just a general sense of well-being, like a better place with my biome. So not more of a resolution. It was just like, hey, back to work, back to the routine.
Sure.
Just a little burp in that this week, but not reverting back to like the indulgence that that I was. But yeah, no real resolutions. I failed last year because I wanted to get 35 BCP shorts out. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I think I was at 14, but I had the intentions of doing one this last week. I just happened to forget my computer at home. But so yeah, just like you said, just you try to live healthy anyways. You just reassessing and reevaluating those.
Just try to be a good person
practices.
Overall. Yeah, for yourself, your family, your friends, whatever. But I like the idea of doing more shorts.
Yeah, they're so much fun, and they get so much throughput and feedback and engagement outside of our friends group and outside of their friends group, like people that we have no connection to at all. And
right.
I think that's how they ingested us, was in those 9 to 12 minute, smaller pieces than the long form stuff that we enjoy doing. So
my fridge got full because I was buying 4-packs.
Oh.
But now I found Shell sells singles, so I'm going to start doing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Shell sells $3 or $4 per single, so you're paying a little bit more, but it's worth it because then you don't have a fridge full of beer. If you hate it,
I don't know if I can do that.
$3 to $4. Maybe we can convince Halls to start piecing out some of their 4-packs. That might help us all do more shorts.
I mean, I don't know if I could just buy one, because what if I like it?
Well, that's the thing. What if you hate it?
I'll probably drink it anyways.
Yeah, true.
Or it just gets pushed to the back of the fridge for the mystery cooler.
That helps. We
have
a
15 to 18 mystery cooler beers in my fridge.
Yeah. We have a town Facebook marketplace, just internal, and I give them all away. All the ones I don't like, I give them away on there. There's tons of people here who love craft beer.
That's awesome. And do you say, I will give this to you, please listen to my podcast and post a comment?
I typically tell them we have a podcast, and I ask that they listen. And I'll try to throw out a recent episode that's good, but I don't make it about like a trade. Like, you have to listen or I'm not giving you this beer.
Right, yeah. Like, but you're holding your block to them.
Yeah, right, yeah. I don't do that. There have been times where, like, I'll interact with somebody. I'll say, oh, I have this beer, not really into it. And then they'll ask me, what do you like?
Right.
And I'll say, I like this. And they'll say, oh, I have some of that. You want it? And I'll say, yeah, okay. So trade.
Well, that's how trades should happen. Just organic conversation like that.
Should, yeah. Katie's really good at trading beers.
Well, she is the social media or social environment goddess when it comes to that. Like, just
I guess.
Some of the engagements and trades and good deals that she's come up with, just even in the last 6 months, that the brief opportunity I've had to speak with her on that stuff, it's impressive.
Yeah, she's impressive.
She could do a TV show called Barter Queens.
Barter Queens.
Yeah,
she probably could.
Take a micro machine and then give her a couple of weeks, and then you guys have like a brand new enterprise level Lexmark copier.
Mm-hmm.
There's random for you.
Start with a paperclip or whatever.
Yeah, paperclip.
She is in. If you're a chuggalette or a female chuggalo, or someone who if you're a woman and you drink beer, there's Facebook groups for women, and they do trades like 4 times a year. Reach out and I'll have Gatorade tell me what they are. And they're awesome. Like, we get beer from all over the country when she does that. It's awesome.
It's a good way to do it, especially with less places being able to ship to Ohio because they're like not paying their taxes, and that's another story.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely under, it's ho hum, or what do you call it when it's like on the down low, I guess.
Under the table.
It's under the table. You got to ship that stuff with. Here's the secret to shipping beer, and I hope I don't get in trouble. You have to put something noisy in the box. So put in put a couple of dice in a metal can. Put it in with the beer. That way they don't know it's beer. You can't hear the sloshing around of the liquid.
I will say the one thing you don't put in when you're shipping beer is a brick. Then put a random. I love that story though. I mean, all the beer that I've had shipped from home, and that's the first one that I've lost, and I didn't even lose it. We laugh about it now. He goes, "It's better with carbonation." That's Juggalo Mike.
The brick is.
Yeah, the Surly beer. But what beer are we gonna do first, JT?
Well, I got a couple things more to say.
Oh, okay.
I know people want to break into the beer, but I'm already drinking. I know you're not. I don't think you are you?
No, I was. I'm just.
Oh, good. Yeah. I got a couple things. Well, one with the brick, you just reminded me. If you guys, I don't watch any TV shows, but I've heard that there's a show called Doom Patrol on HBO.
Brendan Fraser.
Fantastic, fucking fantastic. Brendan Fraser's back in a big way. But there is a brick in that show that plays a significant role in season 2. So if you like bricks, check out that. So I do have 2 stories real quick.
Sure. Hit us.
One super fast. Honolulu has a new brewery. If you are an Ohio craft beer fan, my brother-in-law, he lived in Ohio for a bajillion years. He might listen occasionally. So if this happens to be the episode you listen to, Brian, Juggalo Brian, there's a new one, and they actually bought a bank, I believe in Waikiki or Kaka'ako.
I've seen that movie. It's the sequel to We Bought a Zoo with Matt Damon.
Yeah, it's the sequel to We Bought a Zoo, and it's also part of the Ocean's 11 franchise. This is Ocean's 14, We Bought a Bank. It is in Kaka'ako.
You nailed it.
Yep, and it's a bank. So there's a brewery inside a bank now. So go ahead and check that out. It is Aloha Beer. And the other story, have you ever been to Missouri, Matt?
Yes.
Have you ever toured the caves there?
No.
Missouri has some fantastic cave tours. I've done it. It's fantastic. They're interesting. Stalagmites, stalactites, all such things. Upward growing rocks, downward growing rocks. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's geology.
Tights are the ones that hang from the ceiling because they have to hold on tight.
Oh, and mites
are mighty because they're much bigger. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I never actually learned that.
Yeah, tights because they have to hang on. Tights down, mites up.
Juggalo Jeff's really going to like this conversation. Well, anyway, St. Louis, they were mapping a cave with LiDAR, which, if you're not familiar, is light detection and ranging. They were sending some of it's basically lasers, and it responds and tells you the distance from when it's sent out to come back, tells you the distance and maps out a 3D image. Your phones, if you have a phone after 2019, probably has LiDAR in it. They were using this to map caves, and they found an entire beer cave.
Beer cave.
They found a beer cave. Apparently, they found this 7 by 15 foot tall room inside this cave that contained a bunch of old beers, old ales and stuff. And then they researched it and found out that this was where they were storing ales, like, much like in the old days, you used to have to keep your vegetables outside, right, to keep them fresh. This is a similar thing. They'd keep them out there to keep them at the temperature they wanted to.
What you're describing is a root cellar.
A root cellar. I can never remember that term, root cellar.
But like places like Miller and Anheuser-Busch, with home in St. Louis, they still chill their beer. Moreline does it down in Cincinnati below grade because it stays a consistent and predictable temperature.
Yes. Predictable and consistent. That's what they call me.
Yes.
All right. That's it for that. Let's get into the beer. First beer up, Urban Artifact Christmas Pickle or Xmas
I'm excited.
Pickle. I'm excited. I knew you would be excited. personally, I've tried several pickle beers, and I don't think I've ever been on board, but I want to keep going.
Hopefully this is more
Christmas
UA
pickle.
and not Epicurean.
Yeah, I don't know that Epicurean had anything to do with this beer.
Because all Epicurean beer is UA, not all UA beer is Epicurean.
I didn't know that. Okay. Well, this is Urban Artifact Xmas Pickle or Christmas Pickle, depending on how you pronounce it. And it's dill pickle, Christmas goza or goze or goes. You ready to crack this thing open? 3, 2, 1. Oh, terrible crack.
All over my monitors.
All right, so I will talk a little bit. You get a little taste. I'm going to take a taste just because I can already smell the pickle.
If I just want to take that sound bite, I can already smell the pickle, and I can think of like I can think of 47 ways I want to apply that in my daily life.
I can think of a couple, but not 47. Which is a really, really good. It would have been great if you said that at the end of this review, because the next beer we're doing is actually brewed on 47th Street.
Holy buckets.
Wouldn't that be fucking crazy if that was the transition? Totally random. Anyway. All right, Urban Artifact, Cincinnati brewer. We've been there. We had pickle beer there, and we had their spicy pickle beer, which I could not finish. I did not like the taste of it. Felt like I was going to have heartburn later in the evening. Luckily for me, my evening went a completely chaotic direction. And
you had all the bread. All the bread.
I remembered having heartburn anyway, so I should have just let it happen. But Urban Artifacts out of Cincinnati, they're in the St. Patrick's Catholic, I think, cathedral or church. I don't know what they call it, but it's now Urban Artifacts. So if you enjoy...
They're in the basement.
They're in the basement. Yeah, that's right. The church is still there. And if you like that type of architecture and you like church basements, this is the place for you.
You like church basements.
Urban Artifact is probably my earliest recollection of a very good fruit beer. They make fruit beers. They're basically experts in fruit beers. I honestly couldn't tell you what type of stouts or IPAs I've had there and whether I liked them or not. But I can probably pinpoint a few of their fruit beers that I've had that are really, really good. And they also have an entire line, like you said, Epicurean. Would you say all Epicurean is Urban Artifact, but not all Urban Artifact is Epicurean?
Correct.
So they have that. They also have this dinosaur line of beers, which are all their like barrel aged, but they're all, I believe, fruit sour barrel aged. So they're not like your typical stout barrel aged beers. I think they're all like cherry and other types of fruit.
Correct.
I'm not sure what other types of fruit they're putting in these barrel aged beers because I've only had the cherry one. That was the Stegosaurus, I believe.
The Stegosaurus, yeah. We gimmicked that one. It's like a $25 beer, and you can only get it from the brewery. So we were all sold on that because it was the only thing we could get. The exclusivity is what turned us on to it. So then 4 of us, when we were there, shared that graciously.
Yeah. So it's great. Urban Artifact is a fun place to go, especially if you go on a weekday afternoon like we did. There was literally no one there except for us and some people planning their wedding, which I assume would have been at Urban Artifact. If you can I don't know what it's like there when it's packed, but I'm sure it's fantastic. Just a lot of craft beer loving people. But Matt, if you got any thoughts, you can take it away, or I can keep talking.
So here's the beauty of Urban Artifact, and they're very lauded on this podcast. We've done them on episode 20, episode 82, and most recently on episode 91. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out their website, which is fantastic, and it has their entire line of beers, and that's at artifactbeer.com. So Urban Artifact was already taken. It's a pretty sophisticated name. So artifactbeer.com. I love absolutely everything pickles. We have, if you go into my beer fridge right now, one of the few non-beer things we have are 2 gigantic jars of pickles. One jar is for the whole pickles, and the other jar is for hamburger cut pickles. I don't know what's Christmas about this beer. I just love that it's a pickle beer. And the best part is, while JT was pontificating on his admiration for Urban Artifact, I went to the website again at artifactbeer.com, and I was clicking on the Epicurean line. They have, spicy pickle, bread and butter pickle, Chinese spice pickle, barrel aged spicy Thai pickle. These guys are pickle beer aficionados. Now, not all of them are home runs. I've been very vocal about my opinion on the Epicurean line, which again, all Epicurean beer is Urban Artifact. Not all Urban Artifact is Epicurean. But this is a fantastic beer. Again, I don't know. I'd have to do a side-by-side comparison with their traditional dill goes pickle beer on what's different, what's more Christmassy about this. I'm not pulling anything. I would be reaching, and again, it's just my opinion. I'd be reaching to like attach like a Christmas. I don't really look at the can too much. But again, this is fantastic. I would love to have this as a beer chaser for a delicious Bloody Mary that typically, especially in my world, already comes with dill pickle juice in it. I am a dill pickle guy, not sweet and sour. I can talk about pickles at length. This beer is fantastic. It's refreshing. There's a reason why pickle juice was an electrolyte-filled drink for like workout recovery for a few years there during the 2010s and late 2000s. This beer is fantastic. Again, off the top rope, I'm going to give this a hearty 4.75.
Whoa. Wow.
I love it.
That's a great high score for this beer. Okay. It's going to be hard to follow that up. Okay, so first things first, this is the Can Art Boner segment brought to you by, and I found out Dr. is still the sponsor. But not
did he tell you?
But this is actually submitted by my wife, Caterade. So she's actually the sponsor of the Can Art Boner segment now. So here's the can art. I'm going to spin it slow. Let me turn off the blur from my camera for those listening on audio. We're on Skype. All right, here we go. So here it is. Here's the can. I don't know how Skype's recording export will cut this can out, but here it is. And if it cuts off some of the can, my apologies.
It records us vertically, so you're tiled.
So I should be good.
Well. Yep.
Okay, so that's the can art. This can art is essentially what I assume to be the church that they're in, which is right here with the red roof, and then it's a snowy scene. There's a pickle tree, or at least it's a Christmas tree with a pickle as the star instead of a star. But there are pickles as ornaments, maybe or you can be like me and just assume it's a pickle tree and it's growing pickles. There's a fox. There's a little pickle cart, which would be nice if there were just pickle carts randomly throughout our big cities or even our small cities like Dayton. There's a little house. This is not what the neighborhood around Urban Artifacts looks like.
Not at all.
It's much more urban, many more houses, many more apartments and businesses.
Much more urban, much more artifacts.
Much more artifacts, exactly. And then there's a reindeer and some other stuff and a tree stump. So someone has cut a pickle tree right here to take to their home to harvest the pickles. So that's the can art. Now, they actually have on their website, which I found to be pretty awesome, they have a little tidbit about their artwork. And they say that they have a distinct style. It's a combination of constraints, which I'm not familiar with art speak. I'm guessing that that means that they do more with what they leave out, if I had to guess what that meant.
Exactly right.
Most all of their label artwork starts out with the name of the beer. And from there, it's a visual ideation, which is a blend of research, doodling, and discussing what the character or artifact is supposed to represent. So they say original pencil sketch page exists somewhere for each beer. After a certain visual idea seems to work well with the beer idea, then it moves to ink. The step can often get repeated several times, often because one, it's permanence of ink. If the lines don't end up in the right spot, it gets scrapped. And two, the proportions seem off. Or three, a better idea came along. So really what they're saying is they draw shit, and then if they fuck it up, they draw new shit, and that's how they come up with their art. But they do have a distinct style. If you're familiar with Urban Artifact, their can art is Urban Artifact's can art, and it does look like someone drew it, someone with decent but not spectacular art skills. And that little article was written by Scott Hand, the chief of organization. So the COO, but different. He's the chief of organization, not of operations. I'm sure there's another one. So the Christmas pickle, why is it Christmas pickle?
Tell me.
The story goes that around Christmas time, they brewed their first pickle beer. And they said, this is going to be a huge flop. This is ridiculous. No one's going to like this beer. Turns out it's one of their most requested beers, and now they only brew it at the end of every year. So that's why it's a holiday themed beer. It's the same exact pickle beer.
Okay.
Apparently, but it's just it's a different variant each year. So is it different in recipe? Perhaps they don't tell you that, but it is only brewed. You can only get this in the December-January time frame. So Caterade got this from one of her beer boards on Facebook and submitted it to the podcast. And you know what? I'm going to have to say this is one of the better pickle beers I've had. Probably the best. And I've had Urban Artifacts pickle beer. We had North High's pickle beer. That was a sour. This is a goes. This to me, so the last time I had their pickle beer, it tasted like all the acid parts of the pickle. Whereas this tastes more like the rind and the very inside of the pickle.
The flesh.
To like get rid of the seeds, and I think then you get this beer. And it does have a very distinct and prominent dill flavor. And I like dill flavor. I just wasn't sure at first how it would go with the Goes beer. And now it's starting to grow on me a little bit. I will never accept a bread and butter pickle as anything less or anything more than a fucking abomination. Every other pickle is fantastic in my opinion. I love pickles. I'd be that weirdo at the gas station that buys those pickles in a bag because I fucking love pickles. But bread and butter pickles are just a complete tragedy to humankind.
Have you ever had sweet and sour pickles?
I believe I have had sweet and sour pickles. I can't really remember it, but I think I have.
What are your thoughts on gherkins?
Gherkins. I don't know what gherkins is.
Mini pickles?
Oh, the mini pickles? I'm fine with the mini pickles. Yeah, I think it'd be good appetizer. Maybe throw some cheese and crackers in the mix, and then you kind of mix it all together, and then tastes great. If you go to Gatlinburg, there's this craft. I don't want to call it beer because they don't sell beer, but it's like sodas.
Yeah.
And like mustards and pickles. They sell all this craft stuff. You can get like all kinds. You can get like a barbecue pickle. You can get honey mustard pickles. You can get pretty much any kind of pickle you want. So if you're in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, check that out. Okay, so that's enough of that. This is a 4.3. If I didn't say that, this is 3.58 pH, 12-ounce can.
So the pH does a good job of reflecting on the sourness of the beer.
Okay.
Because that's the acid versus the base.
That's the acid, yeah. Well, I think this is the best pickle beer I've had. I think there's more pickle flavor than there is the juice, the pickle juice, which is what I think the North High one was going for. It was more of a pickle juice flavor. Vinegary. This one doesn't have that vinegar taste. It just tastes like a pickle, like a dill pickle. Or like if you sprinkle dill seasoning on your plain Ruffles potato chips, it's fucking awesome. Do that. It's great. Or put it in sour cream and use it as a dip.
Oh yeah, that Dean's dill dip is a go-to in Wisconsin.
Yeah, Dean's dill dip. It's not super high. I mean, I'm not chugging it. I don't love it, but I do think it's the best one I've had. I don't even remember where my pickle beer scores were in the past. But as a gimmick beer, geez, I'm at like 3.25. 3.25 for Urban Artifact.
Awesome.
This one I will finish. There was some that I just couldn't finish. All right.
I would do this and another beer for like a power hour or a Century Club.
Okay. I mean, it's low enough alcohol to make sense.
Right. But then like pair it with, because drinking pickle juice for an hour might be a challenge, but pairing it with just something else to change up the palate.
Yeah, you're going to walk away with like all these cold sores.
Yeah.
All right. So the next beer we're going to do, this is submitted by Chuggalo Nicole. So Chuggalo Caterade, she was a Can Art Boner sponsor for a very short time. Chuggalo Nicole, this is BuckleDown Brewing Belt and Suspenders India Pale Ale. So there's our IPA. So she got this beer. We've had BuckleDown before. They're brewed on 47th Street in Lyons, Illinois, my old stomping grounds. I didn't live in Lyons, but I went to Lyons Township High School. For those who are putting together my profile, that's where I went to high school. Write it down. Keep it in my folder.
What was your mascot?
What do you think?
The Lions? Lions?
It sure was. The Lions.
No way. No, it wasn't.
Mascot, you know what his name was? His name was Noyle. Lion backwards. That was our mascot. Noyle the Lion. Hey, I don't make the rules.
You're making this up.
Oh, no. Totally true. And it's a great school, one of the best schools in Illinois. Not quite as good as Hinsdale, but we don't have, the Bulls basketball coaches going to their kids going to Lyons Township. Hinsdale's our rival. That's why I say that.
Gotcha.
It's like the wealthiest school in the state. It's one of the better schools in the state. Like, I'm sure half the class goes to Stanford, Harvard, Princeton, whatever. But, Lyons Township, or LT as we call it, they didn't do too bad themselves. They had a lot of really smart kids going there. So this is Belt and Suspenders. I keep wanting to say Belt Sander. Belt and Suspenders IPA. Let's crack it open and we'll talk about BuckleDown. 3, 2, 1. All right. This is an IPA. It's 7.0% alcohol, 12-ounce can. It's brewed and packed at BuckleDown. Their distribution, I don't believe, goes outside of Illinois. So if you're, we got a lot of people living in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ohio. If you're transiting, grab yourself some BuckleDown Brewing.
So is this Illinois' New Glarus? It's just sought after and
I don't think that this is Illinois' New Glarus, but
no? Okay.
I mean, no, doubt it. Because New Glarus is Illinois' New Glarus.
Oh yeah, that shows up all the time at Beer
far.
Geeks. Like I'm in Chicago, but we made the trip up to Wisconsin.
Yeah,
we stopped at the first gas station in Wisconsin.
Yeah, if you're a big beer fan, you're gonna want some New Glarus. If they make it so hard to get, can't get it in Illinois, might as well go to Wisconsin. I haven't personally experienced a brewery in Illinois other than Illuminated that has me thinking I should go out of my way. Illuminated's about it. Goose Island doesn't do it for me, and they sell that everywhere now. But New Glarus, I mean, they could up distribution and they'd still be successful. I don't think it would be a failure, but they want to keep it local, and that's fine. That's what they want.
I'd be their rep here. I'd leave my job. It sells itself.
Well, yeah, you'd love that. And I would love that because then we'd have New Glarus here. But you don't want to do what's that Iowa brewer? Toppling Goliath. You don't want to do what they did. It's like we wanted Pseudo Sue all the time, and then it came here and none of us buy it because it's here now.
Yeah, so I still have TG in my fridge. So here's the interesting thing with TG, and I'm glad you bring it up. A lot of people say it tastes different because most of TG is brewed in Florida, contract style. And then the TG stuff that you get from the hole in Decorah tastes better, is what the purists say. I don't know. I buy it when I don't see, but that's a place right now with TG that you're getting $23, $24 for a 4-pack, which is fine. That's bar prices, you know, and I can drink it. But the last couple TGs I bought, like Dragon Fruit and Fire Skulls and Money, were $20 plus for the 4-pack, or right at $20. So it's still good stuff as long as you're not buying Dorothy's, because that beer's a GD abomination. So a lot of acronyms there for you guys. I can't wait what you say about the artwork, because I have some strong resonating feelings about it, but I'm going to save that.
I might want you to do the can art boner segment today.
Sheath my can. So there's one specific thing that it really resonates with me, and hopefully, because we're men and women of a specific age that listen to this podcast.
Sure.
Sorry, Chuggalo Stev, you're not going to apply to this. If it would resonate with you, I'd be shocked. So, all right, off the top rope, this is a standard.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing fancy. There's none, going back to our 2021 prognostications, there's no gimmick about this beer.
Right.
I brought this beer. It's been sitting here for about an hour, so it's temped up a little bit. I will say I like my beers chilled. It's tough for me to bring something to room temperature, even though it's recommended, even though it's emblazoned on the bottle, the can, the growler, whatever. This is a very solid, again. So the people of Lions, LT, as friends of JT call it, this is a solid standard. There's nothing high or low or off-putting about it. It's got that clean, a little bit just approaching that soapy feel on the palate, but that is like a refreshing. It's not overly powerful where it sticks with you or it's persistent. Off the top rope, I give this a 4.0 because this could be a standard if I was living in LT and I was upset with how Hinsdale, were Hinsdale's bitches.
Fuck Hinsdale.
So Chuggalette Nicole, you are a blessing and a godsend. I think that's the first time it's been brought up. You're a blessing and a godsend to this, because you bring conversational beers. You could always just go after the illuminated two levies, but you don't. You find other beers that we want to talk about and have on the podcast. And this is I could have this in my fridge next to Truth, next to Two Hearted, next to Boat Show, and be happy that it's in my fridge. Off the top rope, 4.0.
Okay, great review. We're going to be close, but let me do the can art boner segment brought to you by Chuggalo Nicole. This is Belt and Suspenders by BuckleDown Brewing. They are on 47th Street. I'm going to talk plenty about that. I don't think I did the last time we did BuckleDown.
Episode 37.
Wow, that was long.
Which it would have been ironic
about Lions back then.
It would have been ironic had it been episode 47 because
it would have been super ironic.
Wow,
that one went down wrong.
That's a strong endorsement.
That wasn't the flavor. Okay, so I'll get to him last. All right, Belt and Suspenders, good font, dark can. One complaint here is that you got your little banner, Belt and Suspenders, right above that. I don't really see the need for that. If this is kind of a thing that you do on all your beers, like this little flag hanging down, do it like by the UPC or something. That way, no matter which way the can is turned, you can see what kind of beer it is. That's one of my biggest annoyances at beer stores, is that it'll be like, this will be the front here. And then I'll be like, what the fuck? It's the brewer. Like, what is this beer? And so I think that if you move this flag somewhere else, it would help with your shelf, identification.
You make it idiot proof for the delivery or the stock. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that's all that. It's fine. This guy here. Okay. Belt and suspenders, right? He's wearing a belt and suspenders. The one complaint I have about this guy looks like he works on Lions, or on 47th Street in Lions, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But he has what looks to me like a fedora.
It is. That's the fedora. This
guy doesn't wear a fedora. Okay? This guy he's got like 3 hats in his closet. One of them's like a trucker hat that says, it's just got like an eagle on it and says America. The other one's a Bears hat. And then the other one is a winter cap. That's probably also either a Bears, White Sox, Cubs, Blackhawks, something like that. Everyone in Chicago in the winter like sports chic, I guess local sports chic is like a style there. You can have fashion shows in Chicago where all the models wear Chicago sports teams gear. I've never seen anything like it. The whole city dresses like your Sunday's best could include something that has a logo on it from a Chicago sports team. It's fantastic. I love seeing it. You know, people don't get wrapped up in brand names and North Face coats. Everyone wears like the starter jacket is still super huge out in Chicago. People wear it because it has the logo. Jacket. Yeah. So this guy's got only a couple of hats, and one of them is not a fedora. None of them are fedora. It is a Chicago team hat. And he's smoking a cigar, so he probably has a few hats, maybe a hat that's like just, you know, I'm a guy. I'm a gritty guy. It kind of just says that about him. So I don't personally wear suspenders. I wish I could. But the way that the looseness of your waistline on your pants feels makes me uncomfortable. Because you can't wear belts and suspenders. At least as far as I know, in fashion, you have to choose belt or suspenders. Matt might have some opinions on this, being from Wisconsin. I'm not sure. We have a good Juggalo Bulldog, wears suspenders, looks fantastic in them. Not sure what his, feeling about the looseness of his waistline is, but I need that, like, I need to know that there's something holding my pants up besides a little claw, a little clip with teeth on it. Because, man, if those things fall down in the middle of the day, it's just going to be, I mean, you're that guy. People are dying in our building, and I'm sure in most workplaces, people are dying for something to remember.
Right.
And if someone's pants fall down in the middle of the hallway, people will remember that. I mean, we talk about people we saw doing some funky shit in the bathroom. We talk about that 10 years later. People remember it. So I'm not a suspenders guy. I feel like they're just not safe enough for my pants.
A gamble.
And I'm always in between. It's like I'm never the even number of inches. I'm always the odd number. So I wear like, a 34, 36, whatever. They never fit. I always have to wear a belt. Not wearing suspenders. What you got opinions on this? You had something about the can art before I move on.
So to me, the original, the artwork, the style, it looks like the old Aesop's Fables, 1970s. It looks like a Rocky and Bullwinkle, like Moose and Squirrel. Obviously, this guy is not Moose and Squirrel, but like with the huge angular thigh gap, the squared off elbow. I'm not looking so much at the monochrome, but Aesop's Fables back when we would at the sheer end of JT and I when we were watching Saturday morning cartoons. This is like a blast from the past for like cheapskates that didn't have cable or grew up underprivileged, if you will. These were the type of cartoons that we watched before like we had access to Nickelodeon. This resonates with me so much. And as far as the belt and suspenders, it's either one or the other. It's one.
I like that you went with the style of art. You could technically drive a tank through his taint. It's gigantic. Tiny little legs, huge taint. That's how people want to be described when they are eulogized. Tiny legs, huge taint. The surface area. But yeah, I get that too. One thing I did notice now that I'm noticing is that his nose line goes all the way up to his bald head, which is kind of weird. But yeah, it does have, like there's other cartoons I've seen. I'm not sure what they are.
Oh, that's what I've been looking for. That's why I've been listening.
Yeah. I mean, Johnny Bravo, did they have huge taints?
The thing with Johnny Bravo was it was more and it was more realistic. I know it's that age though.
His hands are gigantic.
Yeah. This guy's like Magilla Gorilla.
Yeah. There's cartoons out there that have this style of art, and I'm interested in it. Okay. So that's the Can Art Boner segment brought to you by Juggalo Nicole. Thanks, Nicole. I agree. This beer is a standard. It's interesting that there'd be a craft brewery on 47th and Lyons. And I actually think that's a great idea because if you ever go down 47th Street in Lyons, It's every building is what you would consider, and I don't know if they do use this word around the country or if it's a Midwest thing, but a shop, okay? A glass shop, a metal shop or whatever, different types of
Is 47th
handyman,
Street the main
working man
street
type
in
stuff.
Lyons?
47th Street in Lyons, it probably is the main street.
Yep. Okay.
But it is in LaGrange. There's several. 47th Street, Plainfield Road, 55th Street, LaGrange Road, Wolf Road. There's a ton of main streets, and they all have their own character about them. But in Lyons, it's a much smaller town. Probably 47th Street is your main strip. And yeah, you'll find like a Church's Chicken or a Checkers, I think might be on 47th. Like lesser known, delicious fast food restaurants that you can only find in places where you find rows of shops, and not shops for shopping. I'm talking glass shops, steel shops, whatever. And it's all working, blue collar, working class people, and they don't want frills. They probably don't want this beer.
They don't want gimmick
60th
beer.
anniversary. They want IPA, lager, ale, boom, done. Give it to me. I'm drinking it. And I'm going to go home and watch, whatever, The Simpsons. I don't know what people watch. I don't even have TV, but they all have cable probably. They're probably going to watch like Bears Live, for a half an hour.
Would they watch it on Nickelodeon?
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'm not talking games. There's a show called Bears Live in Illinois.
Oh, okay.
It's on Fox. It's half hour, I think, every day. We should talk about that because I absolutely loved that Nickelodeon broadcast. I don't even have cable, but I saw the highlights and it was amazing. But anyway, this beer fits that description. It's a beer you say, I want an IPA. Here's an IPA, and you drink it, and you're like, that's an IPA.
It's an IPA.
Like, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. And it actually doesn't hit you. It doesn't kick you with hops as hard as, like I was saying earlier, Truth. Truth has like this distinct flavor about it. This one has a less distinct, less unique flavor. And it actually is their first beer they list on their website. And this is one of the first times I think I've seen an accurate description the whole way through. So first they say nugget, crystal, or nougat. I don't know, nugget or nougat, crystal and sterling hops.
Nougat is NOUG.
Oh, NOU? Okay, well this is nugget then. Crystal and sterling hops lead the way in this amazing American IPA. Huge citrus and grassy hop aromas. I think the grassy, that word, it really hits with this beer. And they say it's balanced with well-selected malt backbone. Gives it a sweet, crackery finish to our flagship IPA. So you nailed it, Matt. This is their flagship. This is their standard. This is their beer. This is probably what BuckleDown identifies with the most as their identity. I think it's great. I think we're right near each other. I'm at a 4.25. I really like this beer. I drink this quite often.
This is a working class IPA.
Yeah, super balanced. Yeah, it is. I think that this is the IPA for people it's not a transition beer. I think it's for I think you just find this beer and you're like, this is my beer now. This is my IPA. I don't even have an analogy. It's a good one. And I think they did good. 7%, drink a couple of them, feel pretty good. Walk home, not drive, or take an Uber. But yeah, it's great. And Lyons is a great little area. If you're looking for like the best fast food choices that you'll ever find on one street, 47th Street is it. I'm not talking about like McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King. I'm talking about like the rare, hard to find places.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think before, Church's Chicken, fantastic chicken. Checkers, cheeseburgers, awesome. They're awesome places.
I'm not a fast food chicken guy, but one of my favorite fast food pieces of trivia about the state of Illinois, it's the only Burger King that's not a Burger King is in Illinois. And
really?
It can't. And Burger King, because they were this mom and pop shop was Burger King before Burger King.
Before Burger King, yeah.
So they have a congressionally mandated jurisdiction that Burger King cannot build a Burger King within 20 miles of this burger.
What? 20 miles? Holy shit.
20 miles because that was determined, that was their economic reach.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, and it's just a small mom and pop, you know, they sold it like 10 years ago to the head, and it's just a Burger King that's not the home. It's not the home of the Whopper. It's just a small mom and pop.
It's just a Burger King.
And they had the name. They had the name before it was trademarked, and it's fantastic.
Wow.
But it's my favorite piece of fast food.
That's cool fast food trivia.
McDonald's U is in the greater Chicago area.
McDonald's, everything is in Illinois. I believe the first McDonald's was in California, but the second McDonald's, or the first McDonald's chain, was in Illinois. The headquarters is in Illinois. Everything else is in Illinois.
You got to go to where the beef is. So
you got to go to where the beef is. True.
So we were pretty. I'm with you though. You said one thing that really resonated with me about this beer. I'm all about this beer being called Belt Sander instead of Belt and Suspenders.
Belt Sander. I know. Yeah, that would be a good name for it. I think Belts and Suspenders is more about like the picture or the imagination. But Belt Sander, now that's a good name for a beer.
So when you think Belt Sander, and it wouldn't apply to this beer, if we build the Belt Sander beer.
Yeah.
And this really reminds me of a gimmick that we should do is we just throw out terminology of random household items, and you build the beer.
Ooh, I like that.
So that's just something we should do sometime.
We should.
But Belt Sander seems like really grating. Like it's gonna.
Yeah, grating.
Yeah, it's gonna like, you know, take your taste buds off. But you just look at this can, and even when you handed it to me and when you were describing it, it's like, Belt Sander, and I just put it down.
Belt Sander. Yeah. It seems like this beer, you can hear a voice in this beer, and it sounds like, my beer, I'll drink an IPA. That's what this beer sounds like. It has a voice. But I'm really interested in this Belt Sander idea. I think it's got to be like 100 IBUs or more. It's also
you'd go IPA with it?
I mean, what grates the tongue? And other than literally putting sand inside the beer, what grates the tongue flavor-wise?
Oh, flavor-wise, because
I'm not talking sour.
I'm saying like a Hefeweizen, like something that coats it, but that doesn't grate it. Like what's grating? I mean, grating to my palate, any Wild Ohio beer.
Yeah, that could be it. But that just tastes bad. You want something that provides a texture for your tongue that is unpleasant.
Next week, that should be homework for us. Come up with three common things each. You come up with 3, I come up with 3.
All right.
And then just give, but it can't be but just things that both of us would have in our house or our garage or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
For example, for you, I could do handsaw. And for me, you could do closet door.
Closet door. Yeah, just look around the room and see what you see, and it could be an ingredient in a beer.
Yeah.
Or you're saying make names for a beer.
No, you tell me what kind of beer it is.
What kind of beer the Belt Sander is.
We're starting up the BCP brewery, and our first think tank or brainstorming session. We're like, all right. Dishwasher blank. What is it going to be?
The Brew
It's going to be a lager.
Dishwasher.
That's
our first beer.
But
it's got to be a lager. It's got to be, it's got to maybe a Pilsner with soap.
Yeah. Belt and Suspenders, that's so blue collar, and just like how you describe the LT to the Chuggalos, and to me, and he looks like you said, even on the website at BuckleDownBrewing.com. I've got the website up right now. Even at the can's off center. So if you
you're right. It is. It centers on that banner.
Yeah. So you're looking at the guy's ass. So right here at minute mark 105 or 104, you're not looking at so interesting. And we talked about packaging last week in episode 121.
The majority of I want to be clear to hopefully the guys from BuckleDown are listening.
Yeah.
I know the area. I know. So the LT, the Lyons Township, the high school district, it's not all like that. You know, this is the unique character of Lyons.
Right.
The rest of the LT area, there's a couple places. There's Hotchkins. There's LaGrange Park. What else? I don't remember if anything else falls into this. Western Springs, Willow Springs, Burr Ridge.
Springs, yeah.
Western Springs, Willow Springs, Burr Ridge. I mean, we're talking like Frank Thomas lived in Burr Ridge, from what I remember. It's like mansions with elevators and shit.
Chuggalo Joe lives in Western Springs.
Joe lives in Western Springs. Western Springs is kind of your. I don't know enough about Wisconsin to compare this to anything, but around here, your Western Springs is your Beaver Creek. It's your middle class houses, nice, but not like overly expensive.
Your Mariano's people are going to Mariano's in Western Springs. They're not going to Jewel, Alaska.
They don't go to Jewel. Mariano's is so awesome.
See, GT, that's the knowledge I bring to this.
Yeah, you got it.
I can do grocery stores. I can do.
I hope that Jewel has figured out how to recreate some of that, because you're right. Like, if you want certain things, you're going to Mariano's. They have beer tastings, wine tastings. They'll cook
carpeted aisleways for your grocery store.
Carpeted aisleways? You've been to a Mariano's with carpet?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I haven't been to one with carpet, but I've been to ones
the video. So you carry it for a second. I'm just going to adjust the light in my room.
Oh, yeah, you got the sun coming in. Mariano's, if you're unfamiliar, Mariano's in Illinois is like a luxury grocery store, but it's a chain, so it's not like overly luxurious that you can't afford anything. Man, that light just really fixed everything. But it's great. And I went to a Mariano's, and it was around 11:30 in the afternoon, I think, and I had ordered some sausage, and they asked me if I wanted it cooked and bunned so I could eat it right now. And I was like, one, that's fucking awesome that you asked me, but no, I wasn't expecting that. So no, I'm going to take it home for dinner. But they will cook your lunch for you. You could go there and just buy a sausage for lunch. It's awesome. More places need to do that. Dorothy Lane here does that. So I would say that Mariano's is like Dorothy Lane if you're in Ohio. But so most of the Lyons Township area, I don't want these guys to think that I'm just saying like all of LT district is this blue collar thing. There's a lot of different characters, a lot of different attributes to this region, but Lyons is the working man's region of the LT district. And if you go just a couple blocks down the road over to 31st Street, Brookfield Zoo, fantastic fucking place. It's a great zoo. If you've never been to Brookfield Zoo, you should go to Brookfield Zoo. It's great. It's a good zoo. It's probably the second best zoo in the country after San Diego.
Wow.
I would say.
And you've been to a lot of zoos.
Third is Columbus.
I see that's going a little closer. I like Cincinnati better than Columbus.
You like Cincinnati better? I think I probably do too. But I think that in the national rankings, because Jack Hanna is the Columbus like curator, I think Columbus is probably held in a higher regard. But Brookfield Zoo is phenomenal. I believe that's where that kid fell in the gorilla cage. No, that was in Cincinnati. That was Cincinnati, wasn't it?
Harambe was.
That was Harambe. Yeah.
Cincinnati.
They have a similar setup where it's like you're above the gorillas and you look down. If you want a cooler experience, Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago you can be face to face. It's like a glass thing with the gorillas. That's where like you see like the YouTube videos of kids like playing rock paper scissors with gorillas. Lincoln Park has that kind of setup. Not the band.
I tried so
the
hard.
Neighborhood.
Got so far.
But in the end, didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
Well, you got anything?
No.
Any words of advice for the Chuggalos for segment 3?
I'm just soaking up the afterglow right now. I'm just I'm in a really good place.
Same.
It's just really positive just going into these 2 beers. I don't know, it's just a good time with the beer. So
yeah, well, I have a couple parting words for the episode.
Sure.
One, I don't often do this because I fucking hate the Packers. And I don't want it to be understated. I feel like last week I understated this. Fuck the Packers and fuck everything about the Packers. And I made it seem like maybe Bears fans were like soft on this rivalry. No, we fucking hate the Packers, and there's no one at all in the world who could top our hatred for the fucking Packers. But let me say one thing. Aaron Rodgers gave $500,000 to the Barstool Fund, which is to support small businesses. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was fantastic. Congratulations to him. I haven't had a lot of reasons to like Aaron Rodgers. He's done nothing but torment the Chicago Bears. Fuck him, but pretty awesome that he did that. I thought that was cool.
We lost, and I'm glad we're saving this till the end. Yeah. We lost 3 people last week because apparently for the first good chunk of the podcast, we were just talking about sports, which you and I love, and we don't talk about sports enough. We understand you come to this for beer talk and just life talk. Life is a part of our sports, and for us, life is ingrained. So believe me, we hear you, we understand. It's just, I'm sorry. I understand you come here for beer or whatever. I like to have, for me, sports and beer is ingrained. So
they're intertwined.
Yeah, and I'm not at all appalled by a Bears fan sharing his disdain with me at all. It's an indefensible position. I understand.
Could you be in the current environment of us being terrible and you being much better?
I'm glad you brought this up because I'm glad Ohio State got their asses handed to them, and I wish I could have been at work. I wish I would have owned a Alabama. I don't care if we lose. My disdain for the University of Ohio State is significant. It bears on the rivalry that the Cubs and the Cardinals have and the disdain between them. I just thank goodness. By the way, he won the Heisman. How about you play a little bit of defense against the guy?
Defense. That's what I'm hearing. I didn't watch the game. But and if you're not a sports fan, hopefully we didn't lose those 3 people permanently.
Yeah, no. I told them all. Just listen from minute 20 on.
No so sometimes we talk sports. This is a huge theme in Ohio. Everyone loves Ohio State, and I'm not used to it because in Illinois, we have 2 Big Ten teams, neither of which are really like great ever. Northwestern and Illinois and University of Illinois. No one cares about college football in Illinois. So I wasn't raised in it. I got here and everyone fucking loves Ohio State. I never understood it. But it was like such a contrast between last week or whenever they played Clemson. And it was just all over my Facebook feed. Shit talking. Just fuck you, Clemson, and you suck, and you shouldn't have said we were the 11th best ranked team. And then this week, and they did exactly what I was thinking in 2016 when the Cubs were in the World Series and they were about to lose in Game 7. I was like, well, at least we lost to the Indians, right? Like this was an okay loss. Like I was starting to like rationalize how I'm going to face the music.
Right.
Because it's hard to face the music. When your team loses and someone talks shit to your face, you have to rationalize. You have to think of like, how can I counter that argument with my own argument? And the Ohio State fans on Facebook were just like so polite. And so like, oh, Alabama's just such a good team. And it's okay to lose to this team because they basically would have won the NFC East in the NFL because they're so good. So it's okay. It's like, no, you fucking lost. Like you lost. And that's it. Because if you would have won, you'd be talking nothing but shit.
Yep.
So, and I also am in the position that you're in where I'm like, fuck it. Everyone loves Ohio State. We lost. Shouldn't have been there in the first place.
We may lose people on this opinion.
No, you know what? If you are an Ohio State fan, you are. And no apologies.
I was about to say you could say it.
I'm not apologizing. Your team lost, and it happens because you know what? The Cubs they lose. They suck now. The Bears are fucking awful. They shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. I'll admit it. You guys have to admit it too. Six. Okay, that was it. Sports done. This is the most important part. I talked to Chris. He's coming back next week. We will have a 3-person podcast next week.
Excellent.
Big deal. Excellent deal. I haven't counted them, at least 12 egg cartons for Chris. There's so many that I had to put them in a garbage bag.
I've got him sit out in the church room bar.
Oh,
so
yeah. We give Chris our egg cartons. I have so many. It was like a room in my house. It was like the egg carton room. I had so many. It was crazy. Had to get them out of here. So I have them. They're in a garbage bag. Chris is coming back. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be nice to have us all back together. He said he's got beer next week. So
that works out great. So
he falls right in line. So that's it. That's episode 122. You got any parting words? Anything we missed?
Go Pack, go.
Well, that's part of it. I'm going to root for the Browns from here on out for the rest of the playoffs until they lose, which will hopefully not be until after the Super Bowl, week 1 of next year, maybe. Yeah, that's it. That's the Brew Crew podcast. Thanks for joining us. Join us every week. Join us on YouTube, Facebook, blah, 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 Podbean. That's where we're hosted. Thanks for joining us. Bye.